Welcome everyone to another edition of the official TemTeam Cup May edition. My name's East and I'll be casting two matches today. First one, Sryzen versus Tsubaki-chan. We're just waiting for the invite to get sent out here. It is a beautiful, slightly cloudy morning in Vancouver and I am excited for some TemTeam action. Let's see what we've got. Sryzen going up against Tsubaki in Group D of the TemTeam Cup. As these last week or so of matches for the group stage start to wrap up, the TemTeam Cup has a prize pool of 225 euros, as well as 310,000 Pansuns up for grabs in this edition of the tournament, and both players performing pretty well throughout the group stage, and they're going to go up against each other as these points become so valuable down the stretch. And yeah, so we again are just waiting for Tsubaki and Sryzen, and there we go, we're into the game. Let's get it going. Real quick, names here. As you can see, Tsubaki-chan on their alt, Tsubaki Kwan, running a defensive lineup as per usual with the triple nature core, as well as a triple raid boss core of Nagice, Valash, and Yowler, with this time a Ouroboros alongside the Schween as these supports. Sryzen opting for a more aggressive team, running the Fire Koish out with double electrics with a Golzi and Inky, and a Mashuk, Oshiara, Valash, Hedjin sort of toolbox complement to that with Mimit. Take advantage. Sryzen banning out the Nagice, not wanting to see Aura to mess up his groove, and Tsubaki responds with a first pick Kinu, and Sryzen going with the first pick Mimit. So Tsubaki will be giving Sryzen their second pick here. Now they got to figure out whatever it is that they think will allow them to take advantage. It's going to be Inky actually coming in. So Mimit openers are a little bit complicated for those of you who aren't sure. Looking at the screen, the Mimit is going to be copying the second pick on blue here. So it's kind of like the arrow going across, and that will determine which pick Tsubaki ends up giving up. Most Mimits are running Doppelganger Brooch, which means that this is a great way for the Mimit player to establish a board early on that they have advantage in. Because most likely you will have an advantage on a board in which you deal 50% more damage to the opponent's Tem. So we'll see if that is indeed what Sryzen has planned here, as Tsubaki is going for Kinu Volfi, something that we might call the Bennett Special at this point. But Tsubaki, of course, also known for their ability to build the wall with their Tems, so we'll see if they're able to do so going up against Sryzen here. For the second ban, Sryzen taking out a Ouroboros, so both mentals taken out of the picture. This makes some sense given that Sryzen is running the double melee there with Golzi and Mashuk. Mashuk taken out in response, Tsubaki not wanting to have to contend with too many melees in that case. And they will drop Yowler into the picture. Frightening Kinu Yowler combo is in play. Sryzen responding with Golzi and Hedgen. A bit of a worry on Sryzen's side would be that the Volfi is able to strike super effectively into almost every Tem on Sryzen's side. They will have their own Volfi to help deal with that, as Shuin picked up by Tsubaki. Almost what has become a signature of their team in Seppunku, the Kinu and Shuin support duo, buffing up 3 raid boss Tems. And so the Volfi, Yowler, and what looks like either Saku or Valash will be headed to the moon with buffs here. Both players about halfway through their reserve time. Tsubaki does opt for the Valash, and Sryzen counters with Oshiara. So let's get into it. Game number 1 of the 2-game series. Tsubaki versus Sryzen. Inky, not a super commonly picked out Tem here. Its turn 1 is somewhat well protected against Volfi Kinu. Neither Tem can hit it for 2x this turn. Next turn, however, Dust Vortex presents a pretty threatening move. It should destroy Inky in 1 hit, so Sryzen going to have to be careful here for sure. Not wanting to get locked in by the Volfi if it is indeed running handcuffs. But you know Kinu is showing grease and Volfi's buffed up by Kinu. See what the Tamers go for here. There. And it looks like Sryzen is going into a bit of their reserve time to come up with a game plan here. They are looking at a somewhat threatening board with the Volfi in play. As we can see from the battle log, Sryzen's Volfi actually represents quite a bit of threat. Sorry, Baki's Volfi represents quite a bit of threat onto Sryzen's. Sryzen going for a plague onto the Kinu slot. And Baki's Volfi responding with a plague of their own. Sparking Bullet. Zapping with Inky's Fizzmaster into Valash. Valash tanking it pretty well. Losing about half its HP, so as we can see from that reveal, Sryzen's Mimit Volfi is slightly faster. Means that it can move for the Dust Vortex on Tsubaki's side. But that Dust Vortex representing a lot of pressure here. As Hedgen and Golzi don't want to swap into it. Oshiara could be threatened by a plague in response, and Inky not representing a ton of threat. We did see that it was Fizzmaster Inky, so that means that it'll likely be going for moves like Sharp Stabs and Pizza Party Blow later in the match. Flash retreats. It is Kinu coming in again, as the Volfi doubles in defense. Inky going for the Sharp Stabs. Will hit the Kinu, and the Dust Vortex is enough to bring it down, so no more Kinu for Tsubaki, who opts to use Plague, reading the swap into Oshiara, but Inky able to take it. That read could prove costly to Tsubaki, as now they're unable to equalize, and this Inky does have Piezoelectric Blow active, giving them some priority that could be quite useful against the Valash. So previously, Tsubaki has shown that this Valash is physical. It also runs Sharpening, so unclear whether or not it has Sharp Stabs to make use of that. Regardless, Tsubaki has more or less settled on their raid boss Tem here. +2/+2 into the Volphy. As now Sryzen will go for Hedgen. Plague striking true onto the Volphy. Sryzen starting to do some work onto that raid boss. You can see that actually is a double screen on the Volphy, so a different item on Tsubaki's Yowler this time, as the OX damage does quite a bit into Hedgen, and now Valash with that +1 attack, Ninja Jutsu online. It's really poised to deal some damage here. It'd be interesting to see if either Volphy or Hedgen can stay in here. If the Valash is able to punch through the Volphy, then Dust Vortex likely won't be able to connect onto the Valash, and Sryzen could be running into some problems, as that Ninja Jutsu is going to be coming out quickly. On the other hand, Tsubaki's Volphy is overexerted, so it's looking like they may have to swap it out. Osiara coming in the Volphy spot, as Tsubaki retreats the Volphy away. Schween coming in. Chamomile active on Schween. There's an Ninja Jutsu. It will target the Hedgen instead of the Volphy. Scavenger going off, giving Valash some much needed health there. Schween in play. Schween very threatening here with Sacrifice as a potential option. Sweatband restoring the stamina on the Valash as Golzi comes in as well, so a nice little bit of positioning work here by Sryzen, as they've got Osiara and Golzi to double into this Valash, potentially striking before Sacrifice even comes into play here. Aquatic Whirlwind is active, as is Serbatio's Wrath. They will go for Aquatic Whirlwinds. It is onto the Valash, quite a bit of damage. Golzi also going for Uppercut, outspeeding whatever Tsubaki was planning with the Schween. It is a Crystal Bite, so Golzi taking big damage, but staying alive. And Tsubaki losing the buff to Valash. Volphy comes into play. So we can see here that Tsubaki's board does quite well resist the Serbatio's Wrath that can be coming out here. The question of whether or not Golzi can get off an Oshidashi before Tsubaki's likely slower Volphy can hit it with Plague. Will Sryzen go for that? They're likely going to get a turn here, as out comes the Volphy, in comes Yowler. It will be to eat the Oshidashi. Tsubaki likely feeling like Volphy can't outspeed it. And Court Shield applied to the Yowler. Blizzard coming out as well. You can see the Court Shield giving Yowler some much needed survivability with the Kinu out of the picture. Yowler looming large, and Sacrifice being a worthy option. Golzi outspeeding both gems, going for Charged Iron Filings. That is going to nullify only the Yowler, as it will be resisted by the Schween's immunity. Serbatio's Wrath going off as well. That's going to allow the Oshiara to damage itself through OX. Crystal Bite finishing off Golzi, and that means that Oshiara is right in the way of a Savage Suplex. That will take it out. Without access to any healing, Tsubaki's Yowler sitting at 15%. And it's going to be a very interesting play here from Sryzen, as Mimic coming in on the left side instead of the right means that Rosowski will actually have a Schween on the board, as well as an Inky here, so definitely less offensive output coming out here from the Mimic, as Yowler retreats. Sort of priming Volphy here. This does make some sense for Sryzen, as there's likely no way that the two Inkies could punch through this Volphy that's left over. Schween goes for Sacrifice. And there it is. Fluid Barrier is going to give Inky some immunity, as well as increase its special defense, but things looking a little bit rough here, is Tsubaki having access to Dust Vortex to deal with Inky, and Plague to deal with Sryzen's Schween. Does mean that Yowler and Volphy should be enough to carry the game through here for Tsubaki, but let's see. Perhaps Inky a little bit tankier than we think. His Master Sharp Stabs does deal with Yowler before it gets a move. Court Shield coming through from Rosowski. Got +2 special defense now on the Inky. Not even close to enough, though, as Dust Vortex will polish it off. And with Plague online and the Volphy at +4/+4, Crystal Bite just not really dealing enough damage, and Schween will go down. So, game 1 taken by Tsubaki. GG's to both players, as Tsubaki manages to find a way to build that wall yet again and keep Sryzen's aggressive plays out. And that is all for game number 1. Interesting to see how Sryzen will respond in game number 2. Looks like, they're speaking French to each other. But I believe, en relance de suite, tu prends une pause. I think Sryzen is asking if they want to go right away, or if they want to have a pause. And Tsubaki saying, comme tu veux, je suis ready. So, Tsubaki is saying, up to you, I am ready. Sryzen's, alright. Looks like we are going to get a match right away. Thank you, High School French, for prepping me. Yeah, I was reading chat here. The stream title does indeed look wrong. Let's see if I can... I don't think I can edit it. No, I can't edit the stream title on my end, so we have to ping Tylo real quick here. Big shout out to Tylo for running and organizing the tournament, as well as running TemTeam. And let's get back into the action in the meantime. As we see Sryzen again going for that Deceit Aura Nagai ban, a TemTeam that plays as fast as Sryzen does just can't really afford to run up against Deceit Aura, and it will be Fire Coish banned out as well. Tsubaki not wanting that explosive turn 1 power coming out of Sryzen's team. See what the adjustments will be in game number 2 here. So Tsubaki taking game 1 has secured them a point. If they win game 2, they will come away from the set with 3 points, while Sryzen can square the series at 1 apiece. It's going to be, again, on blue, Sryzen going for that first pick Mimit. Interesting is one of the plans that they seem to be developing here is to simply just try and counteract Tsubaki's raid boss Tems by copying them and looking for that doppelganger brooch value. Tsubaki did seem to get the better of the exchange with Kinu Volfi in this situation, so it'll be interesting to see if they decide to run that back. Of course, the difference being now that the pick ban orders are flipped, Sryzen can punish that opener with Tems like Mushuk and Golzi. If Sryzen decides to... Sorry, Sryzen can punish that opener if Tsubaki decides to go back for Kinu Volfi. So, just one small change, well, not small change, just one change, the flip in the pick ban order, and all of a sudden you see Tsubaki almost running out of reserve time here. He will go for Saku with pick number 1. Could they be thinking of giving Sryzen the Kinu? And they will, so Sryzen going to be starting this round with Kinu. Now, how this works is that the Mimit taking control of Kinu will not get the Protector buff active on turn 1, and they will trap themselves in and give Protector to their ally the next time they switch in, and then take control of, or assume the form of a different TemTem afterwards. So, potentially a very impactful swap-in turn for the Mimit here. Adoraboros being left in this time, as Tsubaki goes for the ban on Mushuk, and Sryzen counters by banning out Volfi. Valash will be the next Tem in play. And again, that Yowler Schween in the back. One of the ways that Tsubaki's team has really taken off in Seppunku is finding, like I said, sort of backup Kinu in Schween with Court Shield, Fluid Barrier, and Sacrifice. Sryzen going for the double electrics in the back, so we will see Inky and Golzi as well as Valash. Let me open those teams in the back, and Valash again completing the lineup. So this time Tsubaki swapping their raid boss Volfi for a raid boss Saku. And an early Hedgen on the side of Sryzen. So see what the Tamers come up with here. Sryzen likely having the faster of the two Kinus in this situation, and sleeve control can be a way to deal with some of Baki's raid boss Tems. Unclear, we didn't really see a reveal of the item on Yowler. Could be matcha, could be energy drink. Not sure. As a bit of a different dynamic here. As you can see, with Volfi banned out and no earth damage, Golzi, Inky, Valash, Hedgen, suddenly a little bit more stable of a core. See if Sryzen can utilize that to break down Baki's defenses here. No real reason for Kinu to stay in on Baki's side. Sryzen could opt to just simply chase it out and punish Tsubaki for staying in. Sryzen is going into their reserve time a little bit just to sort of make certain this decision. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what they decide to do. You already see that Saku being built up as that early wall with the defense and special defense bonus, but is slightly threatened by Hedgen here. The fire damage special variety, harder for Saku to take. As we will see Inu leave and Yowler come in. Sryzen does stay in on the Kinu. There's going to be Beta Burst into the Saku side, so... Saku with Wind Burst onto Hejin. So both teams trading about even damage, which is bad news for Sryzen, as Yowler has come onto the board and the Saku more or less equalizing the damage that Hejin's dealt here. But they did manage to secure a mental into Yowler, and now out comes Saku and in comes Kinu, and the raid bossing continues as Yowler gets buffed up. Hejin going for that Hellfire. It will catch the Kinu on the right-hand side there. The Beta Burst coming out. Does do some pretty good damage into Yowler. The Savage Suplex will trigger comebacker onto Hejin, and that's all for Hejin. As Sryzen's Kinu, the Mimited Kinu just simply not dealing a ton of damage. Even with the super effective attacks. Yowler Savage Suplex down, so that does mean that Golzy does have an opportunity to come in here. And this is one Tem that can deal a ton of damage into Tsubaki's lineup. There's Golzy's faster than Tsubaki's Valash, faster than Tsubaki's Shuin, so it can outpace the crystal damage and has access to melee moves. And with the Yowler not having Savage Suplex active, it means that only Kinu's Beta Burst is going to be able to take down the Golzy here, dealing a lot of damage to it. But Golzy could simply opt to start swinging into Tsubaki's side and deal some big damage. But of course, there's that looming threat of the 3 priority sacrifice going before Golzy and turning this Yowler into an unstoppable beast. See what the decision will be. These are the kind of games where Tsubaki can really take off, as they've got some buffs going and they have a Tem advantage. So they know that they don't need to build an incredibly big wall, just big enough that Sryzen runs out of gas on a couple of their Tems before they can get through, and then the type chart kind of swings the rest of the match around. But Sryzen with a good opportunity here. Golzy is likely going to be their best bet. Striking back, as they're going into the reserve time. Definitely need to make the right call here, whether or not to, as Golzy has show off to go for it, whether or not to simply start swinging with Sparking Bullet. Unlikely that they'll be able to go before Kinu's Sacrifice, so will Sacrifice be the play? What is going to be going on here on the side of Tsubaki? Could they use Hypnosis to call out the Sacrifice play and delay the Yowler's counterattack, giving Golzy a turn to buff up and then swing? Yowler is going to leave. The Lash will come in. And there's the Sacrifice, as Kinu opting to buff up the Lash, so spreading the love around buff-wise. Golzy swinging in with Uppercut, maybe seeing that coming a little bit. Lash's item is taken away. We do see the overexertion of the Mimited Kinu, as Tsubaki does manage to leverage their board state to really help minimize the impact of the Mimit in this game. As we can see, Valash and Inky coming in the back. And one of them will be swapping in here. It's going to be the Inky, as Valash retreats. Tsubaki using, again, these many different buffed up Tems to sort of spread the damage that is being dealt around. Oshidashi dealing some damage into Yowler. Not a ton, but enough for sure. Saku goes for Lifeful Sap. And Baki starting to simply try to wear down the Tems on Sryzen's side. Baki could be feeling some pressure here, though, as Golzi continues its rampage. Without +1 attack, this Yowler's comebacker can be cancelled out by Inky's Phaser. The 30% from comebacker and the 30% from the burn from the taser. In comes... This is a great play from Baki here. So in comes Guardian to block out the effect. Wow. Between Guardian blocking out the effect of the burn and then the effect of Hibernate's freeze. As Yowler manages to just get itself over the line to do so. Big, strong support play there as we can see the power of Guardian Schween coming into full effect. Yowler getting a free 40% HP returned. That's a big swing in Tsubaki's favor. Will Sryzen be able to, however, to just keep going? And they are gonna try, as here comes Pai's Electric Blow. Outspeeding. And Golzi's Oshidashi does hit in as well, and Yowler down for the count. So even though the big Hibernate play was able to restore the bear's HP, Quartz Shield not making it through, as we can see that Sryzen leveraging these aggressive Tems that don't have a lot of high prio, finding the high prio in the later turns on Inky and Golzi, and Pizza Party Blow and Oshidashi sending the big bear to the moon. Golzi finally overexerting itself here. Finally running out of gas. As it will swap out. Mimic coming in. This Mimic going to add the Protector buff. And Sharp Stab striking onto Valash. Schween goes for the Crystal Bite, and it will catch out the Mimic as Scavenger starting to take off, sharpening as well, so Valash deciding that it is the new raid boss. Tsubaki finally getting an offensive buff onto their side. Golzi will return. Sweatband is active. And with that +1 attack, the Crystal Bite from the Valash suddenly looms very large into these Tems. Inky's Sharp Stabs is no longer available. Means that there is no priority from Inky this turn. Schween, again, with access to Sacrifice here, as that would put Valash at +4/+4 with Scavenger and a Sharpening buff. Tsubaki likely looking to build this wall onto Valash here. Facing down Golzi, Inky, and Sryzen's own Valash. That means that there are at least 2 super effective slots that can be hit. Let's see what the Tamers go for here. Tsubaki actually opting to conserve their Valash. Saku will hit the board instead. Inky swapping out as well. Valash making their way in. And Golzi, uppercut, hitting onto Saku. Pretty good damage. Quartz Shield coming from Schween. As you can see, Tsubaki still spreading the love around defensively. There's Schween making use of unpunished turns here. Golzi will leave the match. Inky returns. This swap guarantees that Sharp Stabs and Electric Blow will be active as Madness buff comes out from the Volash. One way to potentially swing back into Tsubaki's side. But Tsubaki perhaps reading that, going for the punish, and they will get it. So Tornado and Crystal Bite taking out the Volash, leaving Sryzen with just Golzi and Inky. Fight back into Tsubaki's side, and now things looking a little bit rough here as the Schween does have Sacrifice. Will it go for it? It looks like Tsubaki trying to get another Court Shield out of the Schween. Let's see if they are fast enough to do so. They will be. Court Shield outspeeding. Well, it looks like the Golzi is resting here as Toxic Spores and Court Shield will outspeed. And now Tsubaki, with access to Court Shield and Sacrifice, still on their side. Or Fluid Barrier as well, sorry. Fluid Barrier and Sacrifice. And it will be Sacrifice. Buffing up Saku. Saku getting to 5 defense, 5 special defense, as Baki has successfully built another wall. Inky's Sparking Bullet will deal some taser damage. Saku not really able to deal much damage in terms of offensively here. As Volash and Golzi stare each other down with this speed boost from the Volash. Will it manage to outspeed Golzi? It will with Ninja Jutsu. That sharpening bonus, it is enough to take it out. So Golzi falls, Scavenger buffs up Volash, and that is going to be likely all she wrote for this match here. Lightful Sap activated on Saku, and Inky with almost no stamina, not able to take out Tsubaki. So GG's to Tsubaki and to Sryzen, as that match going in the favor of Tsubaki. So 2-0 in that series for Tsubaki. And we are going to take a quick step away, and we'll be back in about an hour's time. As you can see here, we're looking at J-Doragon against Leal, clash of a couple PDX clubmates, as we just saw the exotic French clubmate battle between Sryzen and Tsubaki-chan. And we will be back in, yeah, like you see there on the clock, about 53, 52 minutes for the next game of the morning over here on the Pacific Coast. Or, I guess, the afternoon in UTC between JD and Leal. Before we take a break here, just a quick thanks again for Tylo for running TemTeam, as well as the TemTeam Cup May Edition, where the players will be competing for a prize pool of 225 euros and 310,000 Pansuns. Thanks everyone for watching and supporting the stream, and we will be returning in about an hour, so see everyone then. Okay, we are back. Let's take a look here. Oh, yeah, just nothing like a nice early morning stretch. Oh, okay. So, welcome back to the TemTeam Cup May Edition. We got some more TimTeam action coming at you today. It's going to be Group A matchup between J-Doragon and Leal, both the top two players in the group. Very close. I believe they're currently tied in points. So this could be a pivotal matchup for determining seeding out of this group. So it's going to be Leal and J-Doragon, both PDX members. Luke with a usually very creative approach to team building. Actually, both players have a pretty creative approach to team building and normally run things outside of the current main meta, although this week JD is running the hyper aggro team that we've seen him do very well with. Be interesting to see what Luke decides to bring as a counter and how they will adjust to the high tempo playstyle that JD is running. And as always, we shout outs to Tylo for putting on the TemTeam Cup and also for running Tem.Team, a great team building and damage calculation resource. And I'm East, and I'm going to be your caster here today. The TemTeam Cup prize pool is currently sitting at €225 with 310,000 Pansuns, and we are waiting for the invite to go out for these two competitors for game number 1 of this best of 2 series. Hope everyone in chat is having a great day. I know my day is just getting started. It's 7:30 in the morning here. Work starts at 9, so starting off my morning with some TimTeam action, and then flying right into work. And then streaming later tonight. So a jam-packed day, lots of TimTeam stuff for me, and I hope lots of great TimTeam stuff for you. We're just waiting on that invite to get sent out, and then we'll jump into the game. Any TimTammers chat, welcome. J-Doragon 7309 with a fire hype comment. That's right. Earlier today, we saw Tsubaki take down Sryzen 2-0 in a match of a fast wall breaker versus a fast wall builder, and Baki was able to build the wall faster than Sryzen could tear it down. And that win further cementing Tsubaki's place atop Group D, as they have already made it through. And, as well, Ali has secured their spot, clinching first place in their division as well. The two of those teamers already through. Leal and J-Doragon with pretty big leads on their group as well. Likely going to be the representatives for their group in the top 8. But this is still an important match as it can help determine seeding. I believe they have the same amount of points, but Luke has played fewer matches, so this is a pretty important set for J-Doragon here. If they are able to take 3 points from this, they could definitely fight for that top spot against Luke. And we are getting into it. Let's jump right in the game real quick here. That's not the right one. There we go. Okay, cool. TemTeams engage. So we see Drachen is J-Doragon's alt account, for any of those of you confused. He's pulled the bait and switcherino on us. Waiting for Luke to select his team for game 1. Yeah, still waiting on Luke here. And we do see the teams coming out here. Leal is running a slower, bulkier team here with Rolder, Zalbian, Skunch, Calibus, Babawa. These very like tanky Tems along with Nidrasil as well. So their team is built to beef out the aggro that JD will be serving up here. Let's see. This is going to be an interesting matchup for sure. As we see Oshiara banned out by Luke, Calibus banned out by JD. Luke looks like they're going to be going for that. They could be going for that double Fire Koish opener that we saw them use to great effect against Sukli. But unlike Sukli, Leal may not be so panicked by such an opener. They have Tems that are definitely more on the defensive side as they retaliate with their own Fire Koish and a Rolder. J-Doragon hovering that Mimit, and they will go for it. So we get to see our first test of the double F Koish opener into Luke's team. Here we go. Always excited to see these. This is the litmus test of every bulky mid-range, bulky offense team, is can you handle the double Fire Koish opener? And we're about to find out if they can. Looks like Luke dipping pretty deep into their reserve time here to try and figure out what Tem they want to ban out second. Rolder, a very interesting opening option into aggro. It's very bulky, but it doesn't necessarily hit back particularly hard, so we'll see what they decide to go for here. They are running very low on reserve, only 3 seconds left for Luke, and they will ban out Tulkin. Oftentimes when you see a player go that deep into reserve time, it's because they're planning out really how they think the rest of the drafting phase is going to go, so it's okay for them to lose quite a bit of reserve time in response. Hedjin is banned out by J-Doragon. Tulkin and Oshiara gone, so Luke looks like they're sort of narrowing down on the special attackers on JD's side, but still that mix and Amphitheater available. Luke with the Zalbian, no synergies available for the Zalbian in this upcoming match, as Luke doesn't run any digital Tems other than Hedjin. Turn on the Electro Punch synergy. Skunch picked up for Luke. Not great into the mental moves of Mix, but does provide a bulky threat to the Fire Koish. Luke also going with the Babawa, a very underrated Tem so far, I believe, in the meta. A bulky Babawa could actually pose quite the threat to J-Doragon's team here. They go for the trusty Mouflank in the last slot, so a Sparksing option in Amphitheater, and then just lots of consistent damage coming out from JD's team. And Luke going with Nidrasil in that last pick. So it is going to be a hyper offense versus the bulk. Here we go. Game 1 of this 2-game set begins, and it's going to be Rolder Koish against Koish Koish. So I hope you like sushi, because we are getting a lot of it. Also, if you like Rhino, I guess. You're getting some Rhino too. Rhino, alright. Into game number 1. We look at our battle log here. Aren't a lot of great switch-ins to double fire move, but both Tems in the front resist it, so J-Doragon will likely opt for Ice Cubes instead of Lava Wave. That means that Ice Cubes likely won't score a KO onto either of Koish or Roller, so definitely a possibility for retaliation. Roller's Stone Ball actually unresisted by the entirety of J-Dragon's team, so that Stone Ball is going to strike true, most likely. It is going to be double synergy Ice Cubes. Pretty heavy damage into the Koish. With the Doppelganger Brooch, it's just not enough to finish it off. Mimic getting hit hard by the Water Cannon, and Rolder opting for the Stone Ball. Will this KO in return? Yes, it will, and the Mimic Koish goes down. Leal strikes first blood back into J-Dragon's team. Out comes the Amphitheater, though. This is likely to secure the kill with Plague. Although there is sort of some interesting coverage options for Leal, as Plague quad resisted by the Nidrasil, who does quite a fantastic job of walling out the Amphitheater, but is lightly threatened by that Quetzaleno coming from the Koish, or the Lava Wave as well. As you can see, the Lava Wave synergy now gone on on JD's side. Move Flank is, however, an option to trigger Quetzaleno. And this Koish likely in some sort of speed conundrum with the other one, and the Amphitheater. Undoubtedly, the Amphitheater can outspeed it with Plague, so it'll be interesting to see if Luke opts to keep it in and give it up, or if they decide to favor going for a swap out here. Obviously, Mix looking very strong towards the end game with 2 mental weak Tems on Luke's side. Be interesting to see if Luke tries to get value out of that Scunch before Mix hits the board, although Ushidashi is no slouch into Mix's only neutral resistance to it. As Luke taking their time, going pretty deep into the reserve once again. This is a pretty crucial turn here for Luke. If he doesn't read the swap correctly, and the Koish is able to get a couple of fire attacks off into the Nidrasil that swaps in, it would be pretty tough for Luke. There's some consideration is being given to what happens if the Amphitheater goes for the Rolder instead. Will Rolder be able to contest Koish going for a sleep move? Will it go for sleep instead of pressuring the swap in? If so, would it be better to just swap in something else? It's a very interesting situation that Luke finds themselves in here. Luke down to now under a minute of reserve time on just the second term here, so their turns are going to have to be pretty quick from here on out. But this is perhaps against hyper-offensive aggro teams like this, you really do have to have a couple of strong turns, and Luke decides to give up the Koish. JD's Koish going for Hypnosis, likely scouting that this Rolder is not carrying energy drink from Luke's previous matches, if such matches were visible. And if it was a guess, it was a correct one, as Rolder takes a nap. Now, Luke in still kind of an awkward position. There is a Babawa available. There is Scunch, which is available as well. Likely giving up the Koish there was to enable Luke to bring in a Tem without it taking damage. So just getting it on the board safely at 100% HP. So Skunch, Bobble, and Nidrasil are all options, all candidates here. As Luke kind of has to grapple with the sleeping Rolder, not providing over much value here. It will be Nidrasil that hits the board, so immediately going for a threatening option here into JD's side. This is the Tem that Luke is likely pinning a lot of his hopes on this game. It has a good type matchup into Amphitheater and Koish, isn't resisted, only resisted by Mix, and cannot actually be hit with anything but fire for 2x. J-Doragon does swap in the Mix. Amphitheater going for Sparks. Buff it up. What will be the play here? It is going to be a Toxic Ink. A Toxic Ink doing some pretty effective damage that is going to knock Mix into concerningly low level of HP. And Rolder, on its recently buffed but relatively weak special defense, managed to survive an onslaught from this Mix here. This Mix has energy manipulation to go before the Rolder, and also likely outspeeds it Stone Ball with its own Psy Surge. Plague also a factor as well. As you can see though, this Nidrasil starting to work on just building this value here. Luke, however, running low on time, just 5 seconds left in their turn. They do make a play. Amphitheater going for the double Sparks. This is going to really turn up Mix's damage. Nidrasil's Toxic Ink striking hard into Amphitheater. That's going to be a 2-hit KO. Psy Surge outspeeding the Stone Ball. Is it enough to score a KO on the Rolder? No, the Rolder hangs on just 5% HP, and that Stone Ball is curtains for Mix. Luke Leal's bulk holding out in the end, and now Mix off the board, and Skunch looking all of a sudden like a very powerful threat in Luke Leal's backline. As we can see, the bulk on Luke Leal's team, the tenacity and survivability of his team, the Rolder special defense buffs coming into play there, letting it live on just 5% HP. J-Doragon likely regretting not going for the Plague to secure the kill into the Rolder, but they were set up for a clear victory there if Rolder were to die to the Psy Surge, but Rolder living does put Tem's... Oh, we see a bit of a visual bug here on the stream with Koish coming in. This is a Fire Koish, don't let the appearance fool you. And it does have access to Quetzaleno, so it will be able to do some pretty good damage back into Nidrasil once this Amphitheater goes down, but the Koish itself is kind of threatened by the Nidrasil Toxic Ink and Rolder Goring, so J-Doragon will likely have to dispose of the Rolder, taking some time and pressure away to do that. That leaves the Koish open to getting scooped by a Toxic Ink. So Luke Leal with the Tem advantage here, and that tiny sliver of HP on Rolder, forcing J-Doragon to spend their aggressive team's turns. Age comes in. Likely a I'm about to die play, and Rolder does go down. That Plague does not force the Amphitheater to overexert, but that does mean that there will be no synergy coming on Quetzaleno. Nidrasil responds with Toxic Ink. And now Amphitheater forced to overexert if it wants to make a play. Koish unable to get the Quetzaleno synergy. Now that likely doesn't matter too much unless Luke Leal is able to outspeed it with the Babawa. How slow and fast is this Babawa? Can it scoop the Koish? Looks like Luke is going to go for it. So they may be running enough speed on this Babawa to get ahead of the Koish with 3 prio. And if so, looking like a tough spot for Leal is, or sorry, a tough spot for J-Dragon is. They are going to be left with just a move flank. This turn goes as hoped for Leal. Let's see if J-Dragon can Uno reverse the situation and get back into the game. Koish does manage to outspeed the Babawa with the Quetzaleno, so the Koish being just fast enough. Oh, outspeeding the Water Cutting Lily even without priority, so that's a big turn for J-Dragon there. Their Koish will go down, turning the match into a 2v2. Amphitheater does rest up, and now we know that that Amphitheater is one of the fastest Tems left in the game. The fastest Tem left in the game. Furry Wart activating, Chamomile activating on Skunch, Relaxed giving Amphitheater a little bit of HP back. It is likely able to survive an attack from Babawa, so Skunch going to have to use its turn 1 move. Likely a perfect jab here. But that does mean that it is possible that Amphitheater gets additional turns. Luke's going to have to really think through how to plan these next 2 attacks. Same with J-Dragon. But the difference in the game is the time. Leal only with 3 seconds left of reserve time, so only 20 seconds left in this turn. He's going to have to make a decision quickly. Is J-Dragon taking a look as well, sizing up the board. Again, only 8 seconds left on Leal's turn. The timer is ever present here, and they do make their decisions. Amphitheater's Plague comes out early, expecting that the Amphitheater will be taken down. Move flank goes for base jump. J-Dragon targeting the Skunch. Perfect jab is enough to just take out the Amphitheater on its own. Means Ice Stalactite dealing 30% damage back into the move flank. Goring is active. Unclear if Goring is going to be able to KO the Skunch, but that is likely the play that J-Dragon is going for here, as that does open up a stamina battle in which J-Dragon has the upper hand. Let's see, as this game comes down to a set of very decisive turns. Goring does come out. It is enough. Down goes the Skunch. Move flank's War Drum. An interesting alternative to Resistance Badge there. As now we see Babawa resting. Move flank going for the base jump. It's not quite a 3-hit KO, so Goring likely makes this a 3-hit KO. Babawa replying with Water Cutting Lily, and it will be enough. A double Water Cutting Lily should secure this game number 1 for Babawa. And the side of Leal, as that bulky, tanky Babawa manages to make up for going slower than the Koish by tanking out the move flank. Exciting game 1. Leal taking the first game of the series. Let's take a look here. Leal really bringing that down to the wire, not just with the game, but also with the turn timer. Luke going very low on reserve time, both in the draft and in the game, but always making the correct decisions there, sacrificing their Koish, bringing the Babawa in to secure kills, and then eventually winning out in the end game. Although J-Dragon's aggro team does make it close. So now heading into game number 2 here, we see a situation that is commonly faced by aggro players in best ofs, where they've opened their strongest opener, Koish, the double Synergy Master Lava Wave, and Luke has proven decisively that even with one ban available to JD, that Luke can just beat it. The F-Koish Rolder opening just solidly beating the Koish opener means that J-Dragon's going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit here. See what they can do. Let's take a look here to see what the status of the games are. Luke looking for who to invite. Right, J-Dragon on that alt account, so Luke having to invite Drachen instead. But a very exciting second match of the day. So Luke securing that 1 point, that is so crucial here, meaning that J-Doragon can't get the 3 points from the set. It goes a long way to Leal being able to pick up. Pardon me. Going a long way towards Leal being able to pick up the #1 spot in this division, in this group. And research for Luke, yeah. Taking Twitch chat's advice as usual, and there we go. We are into the game. Leal versus J-Doragon, game number 2. So Luke with first pick this time. This can be useful for the bulky player into the aggro player because it forces J-Doragon to commit their lead and gives Luke that counter pick in the lead situation, although counter ban available. So this time Luke goes for the first ban onto the Tolkien instead of the Osiara. And Alibis once again banned out by J-Doragon's team with only 1 wind. Unlikely that they'd be able to counter it. And now we settle into decision-making time. So last time it was Firecoish Rolder that ended up being the opener played in response to the Firecoish from J-Doragon. This time, Luke has to commit the first Tem. With Tolkien banned out, that does mean that Nidrasil is looking like a pretty strong opening option, but there is a Valash that can be countered into it, and double Valash does present an interesting threat. So Luke opting for this Babawa instead. So Babawa, particularly a bulky version of it, is able to withstand a lot of punishment from openers. Luke leading it confidently with double Koish available. J-Doragon goes back into the double Koish. So this Babawa is about to get stress tested in front of the most powerful opening options. So it'll be interesting to see what Luke goes for in response here. Again, dipping into that reserve time, only 25 seconds left. Luke needs to make a decision. Speed, time of being of the essence here. As down to just 10 seconds of decision-making time here for Luke. Will be Zalbian coming out, so Zalbian almost certainly not tanky enough to take the double Lava Wave opener. Be interesting to see what J-Doragon decides to do here with 2 very good options to hit with the double Koish opener. Edgin once again banned out, taking away a fire type switch in to resist the assault from Luke's team, as well as setting up the double crystals Valash and Mix to have a better game. Leal once again looking at Rolder as a very strong option into a lot of these Tems. Oshiara banned out, and that does mean that Rolder will come right away. The big Rhino, a bulky threat. We do see Firecoish coming in the back, and Skunch as well. So Nidrasil will stay on the bench for this one. Whereas a nearly identical opener so far here from... nearly identical draft from J-Doragon so far. Just waiting to see whether or not Mix will come, or the Valash, and it will be the Mix. So J-Doragon opts to run back the same team. Luke running things a little bit differently here. We've got Babawa, Zalbian in the opener. And so this is an interesting situation. I don't mean to, spoil any bulk calculations for all of you out there, but Zalbian's low speed means it won't be able to get the Toxic move off before it gets just bombarded by either double lava wave. That'll pick up a kill. Also very likely that double Lava Wave picks up a kill into this Babua as well. So Luke has a Tem that resists it, 2 Tems that resist it, Rolder Fire Koish. But Fire Koish can't take the double Lava Wave and then live double Ice Cubes the next turn, so... And Hypnosis is an option to check Rolder as well, so there's no good swap-ins really for Luke into this opener. This is why this opener is so powerful. If your opponent offers up Tems in the draft that can't take it and aren't able to block it out, and have disastrous consequences, and I think we are seeing Luke trying to put together the pieces of how he's going to handle this aggression coming out from J-Dragon's double Fire Koish opener. So again, Luke making the decision here. It is going to be just a stay in. Zalbian taking humongous damage from double Ice Cubes, both of which are faster than it can move, and the Ice Cubes covering the swap perfectly. Down goes Zalbian turn 1. Babua opting for the Water Cutting Lily. It's going to hit Mimit pretty hard, takes out half its HP. But the Babua low on speed. We do know that the Koish outspeeds the Babua at neutral, which means that both of these Koishes likely outspeeding Babua and Rolder means that J-Dragon actually just has a double Hypnosis play here. If they so choose to do it. The Tamers sort of size up the board here. The double Mimit opener trading 100% of Zalbian's HP for 57% of Koish's. And there's Hypnosis number 1. We'll strike into Rolder. Rolder going to bed, and yet there it is, the double Hypnosis play from J-Doragon. Is Babua also sleep vulnerable? Yes, it is, so the bulky, slow team on Luke Leal's side also low on anti-sleep. And that's going to give J-Dragon a free turn to reposition should they want to. Also, simply to rest and regain stamina, or swing away, or if they're feeling extra spicy, looking Zen Meditation here to buff up the attacks on this Koish. Just kidding, it's very unlikely that J-Dragon runs Zen Meditation, but they do have the option to swap around here. Mix Amphitheater is an option for sure. Luke is going to reposition. They're going to bring in their own Fire Koish, possibly to resist the double Lava Wave here. And that will be correctly called by Luke Leal, so double Lava Wave coming out there. And it is going to be the second one as well, so the Koish unable to live double Ice Cubes, and with the synergy cutting the stamina cost, Koishes will be able to sort of revenge feast on this thing. Luke Leal does have the option of going back into Babua. Lava Wave again. Lava Wave does cover the swap back into Babua, but it does overexert the Koishes, and while it would put Luke Leal at a Tem disadvantage, it does position them pretty well with Fire Koish dealing really effective damage into Amphitheater and Mix. Luke kind of having to decide what to give up here, and what J-Dragon will do in response. Will 2 minutes left in their reserve time as they contemplate this turn. Again, on turn 4 here, the first 5 turns of the game, or honestly, even really the first 3 or 4 turns of the game, are so crucial against aggro players as they can punish you for misreads very effectively with just an ultra efficient line of play. Crazy that a X4 resisted double lava wave dealt 40% to that Koish. So Leal will say, "OX me if you OX to kill me if you dare," and they will go for it. And J-Doragon does go for the ice cubes, so Luke managing to pick up the 4x resist twice in a row, swapping well, slowing down the Koish. Stone Ball from Rolder will KO, so Luke managing to pivot around the Koish opener once again. Koish not overexerted, so it will be able to pump out a Quetzaleno if required. But Babawa managing to just stand strong, stand tall. Both these Koishes, sorry, both of these Tems are vulnerable to Koish's Hypnosis, but that would require an OX to do so. But it looks like J-Doragon may be taking to the offensive here. Move flank coming out. All of the damage left other than Water Cannon is physical, so this move flank is going to get a lot of value going into Luke's team. However, the Rolder itself is no slouch when it comes to tanking physical hits, but it is threatened quite impressively by the mix in the back. But let's see what the Tamers plan to do here. The Tamers are sizing up their position here. Luke, again, going 1 minute into that reserve time. Thinking about the next option here. Luke dropping below that 1 minute. Trying to size up the option heading into this very decisive turn. Hypnosis available. Quetzaleno on Prio. Rolder will retreat. Koish coming in its place. The flank's base jump hits the Babawa. And Koish goes for Hypnosis. It is going to be onto the other Koish, so the OX means that both fish will be out of the picture. Synergy Master powering up the Water Cutting Lily, and that's going to cut deep into Koish, and it will take it out with the OX damage. So Leal taking advantage of the swap play to get that big damage out of Babawa's Water Cutting Lily. And Leal pivoting around, managing to get that Tem lead on the aggro team again. Masterfully done here by Luke, swapping in the Koish. Although now the Koish being threatened by Thunderstrike probably has to leave, Plague being an option as well. But that move flank slot is going to take a lot of damage from Water Cutting Lily. We'll see what the plan is here from Luke. Not out of the woods yet, as Amphitheater does present its own very powerful threat into Luke's team. Luke again dropping into that reserve time. 35 seconds left for them to make a decision here. Some swap options available for them. War Drum revealed on that move flank. Aperture does go for the Plague. That's going to wake the Koish up. But move flank finishing it off before it can move with Goring. J-Doragon opting to take the KO that is in front of them. Water Cutting Lily, as Babawa's stamina does grow a little bit low. Water Cutting Lily looking like a 3-hit KO on the move flank there. But could be paired up with a Stone Ball or a Perfect Jab to secure the KO. and Luke will have to make a decision as to which Tem they're going to use to do so. It looks like this match, the Rolder and Scunch up against the mental damage from Mix, but as we showed last game, Rolder able to survive a +2 Psy Surge and do serious damage back with Stoneball. Rolder does come in, and we're down to the last few turns of this aggro versus bulky matchup. Amphitheater move flank, no access to Goring, but likely outspeeds both of Luke Leal's Tems as is. And Amphitheater, of course, being the fastest thing available. Flag will damage the Rolder. Move flank going for the base jump. They are doubling in. They really want to get this Rolder out of the picture. Ice Cubes coming through from Babawa. Stoneball as well. Will it be enough damage? And it will. Move flank goes down. Babawa sitting on exactly 0 stamina, not OXing to do that. Mix hits the board, but it looks like another Plague could hit this trapped Rolder and finish it off. We'll see what the plan is, as Mix's Crystal Spikes also representing some threat into Babawa. Luke Leal likely feeling like they might need to switch, but low stamina on Babawa, low stamina on Amphitheater. Rolder locked in here. J-Doragon smartly putting Rolder in a position where it mixes energy manipulation, will bring it down before it can move, so good play there as Amphitheater goes for Sparks. This is going to ensure a KO here with Psy Surge. However, does it secure a KO with energy manipulation? That's a good question. But Luke sees the writing on the wall, knowing that Scunch couldn't live a Plague and a mental move, and concedes. So game 2 to J-Doragon, both players will draw 1 point apiece. That exchange is likely favoring Luke, as Luke has more games played remaining to take the division crown should he play well in the upcoming matches. But GG's to both players. I think we saw some pretty great swap plays from Luke Leal there, handling the aggressive starts that J-Doragon pointed out. You can definitely see that Luke has experience in that Koish Mimit matchup, but J-Doragon smartly pivoting their Amphitheater in to make some value plays to get them back into the W column. Alright, so for the TemTeam Cup, that is all for me this morning. We'll see some more games happening in a little while here. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to update them on the calendar. But we are going to have, in 6 hours from now, it's going to be Setsuna and Sukli in more Group A action. But in the meantime, I've got to get ready for work. Got to get ready to heading out here. So I will bid you all adieu. Thank you for enjoying some Timmy Tams with me today. And TemTeam Cup will be back in about 6 hours. So see everyone around then.